Lovely jubbly. Thank you so much, Angelo Ogbonna, for digging us out there. Because listen, there's no doubt we deserve to win today in terms of possession, creating chances. Generally, we'll talk a little bit about the quality of the chances, but there's no doubt in my mind that we deserve to win that game. And it kind of felt that if we were going to win it, or either side were going to nick it, then it was going to come down to a specific moment. And it was a set piece, and it was a fantastic header. But of course, we'll start in terms of how West Ham started in the game. I thought in terms of possession, the intensity, the changing dynamic again from Declan being the number 6 and Souček getting further forward, it was spot on. And it's probably the best I've seen us in a long time in controlling games. Now, in my personal opinion, in terms of opportunities and creating those chances, even though we did have them, we could have played a little bit more vertically at times. We could have played through the lines at points. But having said that, I still think we were a threat to Everton, even in the early stages. They couldn't get out. The way that we recovered possession very, very quickly, and we really took advantage of the fact that Everton wanted to sit deep against us, and we were able to counter press and intercept in particular when they did get free and try and counter. Now, they grew into the game slightly, and I think there were concerns, particularly about Angelo, in fairness to him, a couple of times where he's had to go out to meet a Damari Gray. He has got beaten on occasion, and I think I'm quite hesitant to blame players individually for that. The way that we wanted to play was spot on. When you look at it out of possession, the way that we were set up, Bowen was a little bit further forward. He wasn't defending the wide areas as much. And I think there was an inevitability that David Moyes knew that the likes of a Rice or the likes of a Thomas Souček were going to have to protect the wide areas at points when Everton countered. So it didn't really concern me too much. In fact, I think that when we look back at it in reflection, the chances that Everton had were simply from our defence dropping off and then having chances from the edge of the box and from distance. And in that sense, in terms of shape, we were still spot on. And we very rarely got caught out. A few important headers in there, of course, from Angelo and Kurt Zouma. It did help us. In second half, it was really about the quality of the chances that we created. We snatched at a lot of opportunities. And I think that's the only thing that was disappointing, I think. I think defensively, there were top performances in there. I've touched a little bit in terms of us in possession was a lot better than I've seen us previously. But when we get into that final third in that transition, can we be more effective? Can we take less touches? Can we also be more composed when we're trying to take our chances? And I think when that clicks for West Ham, then we'll be able to go into another gear and be able to finish games off like these. Because Everton, let's be honest, with their back four, they very rarely got forward at times. Benitez and his team picked their moments. And so West Ham were always going to have to be composed. And again, I just felt it was a little bit clunky for my liking, and Mickey taking shots from distance never goes down too well. Second half, I thought, again, I suppose Everton had to press us a little bit more. We were always going to come under that type of pressure because they couldn't afford to sit back and for West Ham to take their chances. I still feel generally we dealt with them very well and we were comfortable enough. When we started to turn the screw, and when it was noticeable for me, was when we started to change the way, or we reverted at least to the way that we've played previously. And what I mean by that is getting Creswell further forward, getting Ben Johnson further forward. And it began to ask questions of that Everton back four. They were getting pulled into areas that they didn't want to be in. And then you were looking at their midfielders into Corey and Alan. They were also getting pulled out of position. And if West Ham had a little bit of composure on another day, then certainly we probably would have taken our chances and scored earlier. But having said all of that, of course, it did come down to the corner. Now, it's an unbelievable delivery, by the way. It's absolutely superb. And Pickford's come running out aggressively. The run from Declan Rice as well. And I'll give Declan his mention, don't you worry. Again, that pulls the defender away. And Angelo's in the right place at the right time. And it was going to come down to that. We were wasteful in terms of our chance creation. We needed more composure in terms of the build-up. And that's where it worried me at times in the game, because Everton, despite not having the lion's share of possession, despite not dominating, despite not even really hurting us out of possession, the type of chances that they were creating from deliveries across the face of goal, in behind the defence, were where problems could have arisen. Now, the big turning point, I think, and I think West Ham would have gone on to control possession, which is kind of the point that I wanted to get at, that it was the first time I've seen West Ham manage a game up until the point that Thomas Souček went off injured. We were, again, much better in possession. I felt that in terms of counter-pressing when we lost the ball, Souček was phenomenal in that, and spoken about that in terms of the role that he can play at West Ham and in that double pivot. So I never really felt too threatened until he went off. And then, of course, we went to the back three. And for me, at that point, it felt like you saw the real qualities of our centre backs. Angelo Ogbonna, I thought, was much better in terms of his aggression and going to meet players in slightly deeper areas. Kurt Zuma's reading of the game and reading the danger is second to none. How immense he is. The block that he gets from Damari Gray keeps us 1-0 up, keeps us in the game, gets us the 3 points. And again, that partnership will grow and it will improve. And it was a bit jittery purely because West Ham, we lost a man in midfield. We added a defender. And of course, we were going to give him possession. So it was up to us to see how competent we were. But there were brilliant performances in there of course, Zuma and Ogbonna. I thought Declan Rice, I mean, he's a Rolls Royce of a defensive midfielder. He gets better and better. And I think him playing in that number 6 role gives us balance. It gives us security. It gives our centre-backs the opportunity to play out. And equally, in terms of losing possession, he reads the game so well that he gives us an insurance policy. So whilst he's very good at carrying the ball, and he showed it in spells during the game, and I think you can afford to do that against teams that are pressing high against you or they lose possession when we regain it in from our defence, at the same time, he has to play slightly deeper for me because I think that's where his qualities lie. His prime qualities in terms of his interceptions, his tackling, his reading of the game, his marshalling, but it also gives the license to Souček to play his role a lot better. And on Souček, actually, I think in possession, he was quality. I think in terms of not keeping the ball too long, keeping hold of the ball under pressure, which is where I felt that he's been lacking in recent weeks. That was crucial as well to his game. And of course, naturally going and challenging and creating a turnover and getting West Ham off on the counter, he was much better at today, I've got to be honest. And the form of those two is so crucial to how we perform generally. Of course, I think you've got to give Deck man of the match just because of the consistency of the level. I felt in terms defensively, we improved as the game went on. And I think we saw our qualities and the qualities of the two centre-backs. But Ben Johnson, honestly, didn't put a foot wrong. Did not put a foot wrong. That could have gone very wrong, to be honest. I think Johnson could have been better in terms of end product in the first half. A lot of players could have been better in terms of that build-up play in the final third. But defensively, there were very few occasions Damari Gray got round him, got an opportunity against him, beat him. His body positioning, his reading of the game, the use of his body, that's very mature for a defender, a right back, to be at that level already. And that's why I feel comfortable with him going forward. Rumours about him getting a new deal. Give him a 3-4 year deal because he's only going to get better. He's versatile. He's technically sound. He's defensively sound. You start adding a bit of end product into his game, he's going to be top draw. So on that note, I'm going to end it here. Absolutely buzzing to get those 3 points. I think that's a huge statement for West Ham to go to Goodison Park. People can look at it and I'm sure the media will pick out things like the foul on Pickford, which wasn't, in my opinion, and probably most people's opinion. They'll look at the fact that Salomon Rondon was playing and not Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. I couldn't care less. It was a much better performance today. It was a bounce back in terms of performance. And even when, and this is the hallmark of this West Ham side, it's not going perfect and we're not taking our chances, we still keep going. And that's the difference. So on that note, I think we're sick for the minute. Buzzing for this week. Obviously, we've got Genk on the Thursday, and then we've got a certain team from North London on the Sunday. You get your pre and post match for both of those. I am looking forward to it. Probably get the Euro expert on as well. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Come on, you Irons. I'm absolutely